Hey guys, Grifton here, and today I want to talk about PvP druids in Season of Discovery and how a build and rune set might look at level 25. Now the thing about 25 is we don't really have any experience leveling a specific 25 talent tree and rune and gear. This is going to be really tough. We're going to be kind of playing around with stuff. I've got 4 builds here that we're going to take a look at, but I might be wrong. There may be new builds. It's going to be very dynamic and versatile as we go. So we're going to see how this looks now, and then hopefully by week 2 or week 3 of Season Discovery, we'll have a better idea of what the preferred build is. But let's go over this anyway, because I think it's still helpful information to get you started on something. So the first build I did here was a balanced build, focused heavily on Moonfire. Now, because I have the Sunfire rune here, anything I do to Moonfire will also benefit Sunfire. So increase the damage and critical strike chance of your Moonfire spell by 10%. Is doubly beneficial for both your spells. I also picked up Improved Wrath to speed up my cast time because I did pick Fear of the Storm Mage, and that's going to allow me to not have a mana cost for my Wrath, which will allow me to possibly get into the MP5 phases faster, or the FSR, the 5-second rule faster, by casting free casts. And then I also have that 12% chance of a Healing Touch, and I could rely on the Healing Touch as my primary heal if I wanted to. Okay. I also picked up Nature's Grasp, which is going to allow me a little bit of CC. I can pop it on like a warrior, and hopefully they'll get wrapped up and I can run away and keep, dotting them up. I had 1 extra point here for Vengeance, and this is going to increase the critical strike damage of essentially my Starfire, Moonfire, Wrath, and Sunfire by 20%. Now, this might be the play. However, you could also go Nature's Reach to get a little bit further distance away to keep them further off of you. You could also put a point in Improved Starfire. Now, you won't actually likely be using Starfire in your PvP environment, so the 0.1 reduction doesn't matter. However, you have to keep in mind that anything that you do to Starfire also benefits Star Surge, so that 3% chance to stun the target now falls on Star Surge. Star Surge is here, so you'd have to give up your Life Bloom Rejuve combo you've got going on to put Star Surge, which if you're looking for more of a bursty balance, this might be the play, because then you could open with I'm assuming they don't know you're there yet, you would open with a Wrath, Moonfire, Sunfire, Star Surge, and you'd likely then start casting Wrath to proc your Healing Touch to have it ready. If they charge at you, you've got Nature's Grasp, you can pop and then run away, and then just keep, maybe a hot on yourself and keep spamming Wrath. Make sure that Healing Touch proc, which sits up for 15 seconds, is ready to go in case they do some huge damage to you. This could actually be a lot of fun. Again, I'm more of a safety first, so I pick Life Bloom. An alternative to one of these also would be Fury of Storm Mage. I don't recommend this as a caster because you kind of need the free mana, but you could go Survival of the Fittest here. This would just reduce your chance to be critically hit by melee attacks by 6% and reduce all damage by 10. This is really good as a survivor move. You'd also have the damage taken reduced by an additional 10% while in bear form. So if you do get attacked by a melee and you're just trying to survive, trying to get, let's say you're doing Warsaw and Gulch, you're just trying to get to safety. By having this, if you shift to bear form, you not only get the 6% and the reduced damage, you also get another additional 10% reduced damage. So this might be a good play if you're doing flag carries and things like that, even if you're balanced. Keep that in mind, but you would lose out on the free Wraths. So I would stick with this for absolute pumping. But that's only build 1. Let's check out build 2. Okay, so this is another balance build, and this is the main focus of this is actually kind of dumb. It's called Triple Dot. I don't think this will work, but I want to put this out there because I think there's some interesting ideas behind this. But essentially, I do points in balance, but I put the rest of my points over here to get Insect Swarm. So I'm going to take Nature's Grasp for control. I'm going to do Improve Mark of the Wild because I'm not going to be doing bear or cat stuff, so this is pointless. And then I'm going to be trying to choose between these, and I chose Improved Healing Touch because I don't have necessarily the Fury of the Storm Mage, though it might be a possibility. And this will allow me to cast a little bit faster my healing, and then I put Insect Swarm. What this would do is I would have Moonfire, Sunfire, and Insect Swarm. I could hit on them, and then I can Life Bloom and Rejuve myself and just survive. I'm not trying to, stand there and cast Wrath. I'm just trying to not die and let the dots do the work. This also reduces their chance to hit by 2%, helping survivability. So between Nature's Grasp, their chance to hit and your 2 hots you can run at all times, it could work as a survival build because you are taking Survival of the Fittest. Once you put your dots up, if they do charge at you, Hopefully you've already got your hots up. You can shift into bear form and just survive. Kind of like what I was talking about before, except now you've got 3 hots or 3 dots and your 2 hots just to keep you alive while they slowly burn down from the 3 different. You're essentially a kind of like a warlock, a dotting warlock, working a little bit differently because you're going into bear form. But this could be a really cool build. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on to the feral builds. So this build right here is more of your standard feral build. This might actually be more of a PvE build, except of the skull bash down here. But you're gonna get Nature's Grasp right here because, hey, why not? You want a little bit more control. However, keep in mind Nature's Grasp will not work in cat form or bear form. So you have to shift out, apply it to yourself, and then you can shift back to form. Then you're gonna boost your damage by 10% by taking natural weapons and take 1 point in Omen of Clarity just for extra damage. And then I did put 5 points in Ferocity here to reduce the cost of your Mangle by 5, bringing it down to 35, which is a very cheap spell for the amount of damage it does. I did not put any points in Fear, which might be a problem if you plan on shifting out and back in to apply something like Moonfire. But in this build, I kind of had the mentality that you just stay in cat form and you just try to do as much damage as fast as possible. So you're going to try to stealth up, even though you don't have Feral Instinct. You're going to try to stealth up and you're going to open with like a Mangle and you're going to hope your Wild Strikes proc frequently. And then if they start casting on you, you Skull Bash and you're just going to try to pump. You're going to Nature's Grasp if they try to run away and they're hitting you, so that way you can hold them in place and just try to burn them down as fast as possible. This strategy feels like a lot of fun. It feels like a good thing you could do with like a rogue. It has almost no survivability here though, except for Nature's Grasp. So it might be a little risky. But I do think if you're going with a group, this might be, if you're looking for absolute dominance, this might be the play. Now, you might have noticed I picked Skull Bash over Savage Roar. I do think Savage Roar is a very powerful, combo point finisher. However, it's hard to keep up finishing moves in PvP. I'm not saying you can't do it, and I bet there are people that do this, and you could open with Mangle into Savage Roar, and that give you 14 seconds. But I found that every time I try to apply this, not this, but any kind of like long term, it falls off way too quickly. Anytime a finisher, like except for like maybe Ferocious Bite, because it's just over. So with that being said, Skull Bash might be the play because it will not necessarily do any damage, but it'll keep you from getting damaged. Savage Roar is a very viable choice, and there'd be nothing wrong with choosing this. This would be like, I am an absolute pumper, I just want to do damage. Whereas the Skull Bash gives you a little bit of survivability, just because you can interrupt a spellcaster if you need to from distance. Keep in mind, 13 yards away, it's not exactly right next to him, but if you're slowed and you don't want to shift out, you could Skull Bash, leap forward, and get to them because you don't have Feral Charge here. Okay, that is let's say we'll just destroy stuff build. And the final build, which I think is my favorite, this is the not full feral, but heavy feral build. So what you do here is you do Ferocity for the reduction of Mangle, which you're going to take. You then do the Feral Instinct, so you have Prowl, so you can sneak up on them, which is going to be really fun. You also take Feline Swiftness, so that when you are doing damage and they try to run away, you can outrun them. And if you're being attacked, you can outrun them as well to get away. Feral Charge as well, when you need to close the distance between a target. You also have Skull Bash to do the same thing. You've got like a double kind of interrupt system going here. I put 3 points in Fear. Now the reason I put only 3 is because I don't have the points to get. I would have to give up Feline Swiftness, which I think is very powerful, but if you decide you don't need Feline Swiftness, you could go full Fear. Now, having only 60% chance to get 10 Rage when you shapeshift is a little bit dangerous for your Feral Charge. However, keep in mind you have Skull Bash. The downside is if you shift into Bear and this doesn't proc, which has a 40% chance to fail, I guess, you wouldn't be able to Feral Charge it right away, assuming no damage is coming your way. If that's the case, it'd be a little annoying. You could just power shift and go back and hopefully, I mean, 2 chances, you have a pretty good chance of getting it, one of the 2, and then you would then be able to charge. So this kind of sucks. I would love to put all the points here, but hey, you've only got so many. And Feline Swiftness just feels so strong because you're one of the few classes that can increase their speed at such a low level that it makes sense to take this. So you've got Feral Charge, you've got Feral Swiftness, you've got Feral Instinct, and you've got reduced Mangle. Now, for the runes, obviously I'm taking Mangle. and I've already mentioned Skull Bash, but Survival of the Fittest, you could instead pick Wild Strikes up to do more damage. However, I think what's great about Survival of the Fittest with this set is you are almost, because you're going between cat and bear, you're benefiting from this in both forms, and you can switch to like survival mode and still do decent damage because you have mangle. So even when you're like, okay, I can't die right now, cool, switch to bear, keep mangling. Yes, Wild Strikes is going to be amazing when you get that proc, but you only have a 20% chance. Not that it's not going to happen, but you know, keep that in mind. I don't know, maybe Wild Strikes is the play. I really like this build though. I like all the tool sets you get. You get a little bit of Fear, you get Swiftness, you get Rage, you get Stealth, and you get a reduced mangle. Anyway, guys, those are my choices. Let me know if I missed a build or if I missed a talent or a rune setup that works way better. I love to see this stuff. I honestly have spent more time looking at PvP stuff than I have at PvE because the options seem endless. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, take care.